Hello, so for this video, I just wanted to kind of go through a couple of the apps for the AYN Thor that I think are must-haves. Firstly, we're going to start with Solid Explorer. This is a file browser. This is available from the Google Play Store. It's free. There is a paid version, although I think a lot of the paid features, there's no real use for it on this device. So the reason I like this so much, I have mentioned it briefly in other videos, but if you haven't seen those, I'll cover it here, is the stock Android file browser. When you copy and paste between folders, it can get a little bit finicky, whereas this is so easy. So if I take something from my downloads, so I've got the retro Cry APK there, and then my documents. If I want to copy it from one folder to another, I can just drag it by pressing and holding it, or I can just tap this copy and then tap this paste icon, or I can do the same with cut. So it's just so much easier than the stock Android file browser. So that's Solid Explorer. Next up, we have three apps. These are all available on Obtainium if you've got the RJNY pack installed, which if you see my videos, you definitely should. So these are from the utilities section. So there's a few different ones in here. So these are the three of that section that I'm going to cover. I'll probably look at the others in more detail as they're a little bit more advanced. But for a basic look, first up we have Pixel Guide. Now, Pixel Guide is an app to get guides. It's easy as that. So if you're playing a game and, for example, if you've got an RPG, so I've been playing Gun recently, so as a tester. So what you can do is, so here it is on the top screen, but if you want at the bottom screen, so we've got it on the bottom screen there, and then I can go into emulation station, I can boot the game, and then I've got a nice guide. So if you're playing a big RPG, for example, like Final Fantasy, and there's some hidden bosses, or there's some build guides that you need assistance with, rather than having to flick between Chrome tabs or whatever, you've got this really nice UI, and all you need to do is add the game. So for example, if we say Final Fantasy, we'll go for the best one, Final Fantasy, what's he going to pick for the best one? It's 10, the answer's 10. I'm like, oh no, it's 7. No, you're wrong, it's 10. So if you've got one already, a text or a PDF file, you can select them and import them. If you click find, it'll take you straight to GameFAQs. And then from there we go. And then we'll find a guide. So if we click guides, and then we'll go for the highest rated one. And then if it'll detect it's a guide page, then you hit download. It'll download it. If it's got images on there, it'll download those as well. Shouldn't take too long. And then there we are. So I can open this up. Oh, look at that. There we go. So this one's written in HTML. So you have this nice, you've got links. You've got a nice coloured sections. It's all broken down very nicely. It's just really handy to have. So that's Pixel Guide. So next up we have Bifrost. So if you've played around with the LEDs using the built-in controller, that's up here. So if you swipe down from the top, you can customize the LEDs. You can turn them off and on. You can set colours for both that match. You can set separate colours for left and right. You can change the brightness. You can change the saturation. You can do a lot. However, Bifrost takes it up to 11. So firstly, this is Bifrost. This is available from Obtainium. So this basically gives us animated and controllable LEDs. So the default animation mode is what's called amber light. So what this does is it essentially records the colours off the screen, and then it uses those colours to set the LEDs. So the left-hand side colour will control the left one, the right-hand side colour will control the right one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Heimdall. As you can see, they've both switched to a blue that matches the blue of the screen currently. If I go into, let's boot up a game. So if I go into, say, Nether SX2, and I boot up, let's boot up Burnout. That's classic Burnout. So when the screen's completely black, they'll just go off. And then as you see, as it comes up to the menu screen, you should see them spring to life. So there we go, so it's gone for a nice blue, so I'm just going to be player 1. I believe it only looks at the kind of the edges. So there you go. So we've got a kind of pink, so I believe it does take the kind of average colour. So if you've got quite a lot of colour on this side, it'll average out. So if we go for a quick race, you should see some changes. So already you can see here there's some kind of changes on this one. So you can see as I drive, you can see them pulsing. I'm not very good at burnout, but there you go. So that's the amber light one. We just had a nice bit of green there as I passed someone. So we'll pause that for now. And then if we also have audio reactive, so this will react to the audio. So I don't know if the microphone will pick up the audio. However, if I go back to burnout, you should see. So there we go. So it pulses in time with the audio. There is also Ambi Aura, which I believe is kind of a combination of both. So it takes the screen, but it also reacts. So you can see it's doing some nice little dances. Right, that's quite a cool one. 38 grand for that crash. I wonder what that's like in today's money. So we also have a battery indicator, which is quite nice. It tends to go green, and then I think it just goes red when it hits the 20% mode. It's fine. Static is just a colour, so you can change the intensity. Obviously, the default brightness of these is very, very bright, so I tend to take it down to about a third of the way, just because it can glare on your eyes a little bit. There's also some animations, so this one was breathe. So it'll take one colour and gently pulse it in and out. You've got rainbow, which will do the same thing, however it'll cycle through colours, and you can change the reactivity. This is the speed that the colours change, so if you want them to be a little bit more subtle, like this, you can see it's slowly going from blue to a nice pink. So, or you can go the opposite side where it just completely races through them. You can also control the brightness in here as well. There is pulse, which kind of flares up and goes off. This one's horrible. This is strobe. So I don't recommend that one unless you're planning on playing a prank on an epileptic friend. Sparkle's quite nice. It occasionally just kind of pings in and off. So again, you can change the reactivity of this to boost it up a little bit. So it's not too bad. Some of these, I don't know if people would use them or not, but there's fade transition. So these will kind of, colours will fade in and out. Again, it's okay. Rave, this is another horrible stroby one. Again, do not recommend that one unless you want a trip to the emergency room. There's also chase, which they kind of go back and forth, which, again, it's okay, but probably gets annoying after a while. For me, amber light, ambi aura, probably say ambi aura is the best one to stick with if you intend on using Bifrost. And last but not least, I have covered this before, but if you've not seen it already, we're going to look at EmuReady Lite. So if you're someone who emulates Switch games or PC games using something like GameHub or Game Native, this is basically a way to, it's like a kind of database of people's experiences with those titles. So, for example, if we pick up games here, so if we look at Mario Kart 8 on the Nintendo Switch, and then you can scroll down, so people have tested it on the Samsung. So has anyone done the Thor? So we've got the AYN. I didn't know they'd arrived. And then, so we've got someone tested it on the Odin 2. So this guy has its playable on Kenji NX, poor on Citron. AYN Thor Max, it plays perfect. Kind of tested that. I have played it on the AYN Thor, and it runs fine. So what you can do is you can find the report relevant to your device. You can have a look, and you can see what settings have they used. So they've used the Mr. Purple Turnip driver. It's not in docked mode. They've limited the speed. It's at 720p. They've turned off the asynchronous shaders and the reactive flushing. So all the settings you need to get it to run perfect. Or if you see people's reports where they've had issues with those games. You can kind of see what they've tried. You can also, if you sign up for an account, you can submit your own reports. For example, if you found a way to get games that other people were struggling with, if you found a way to get those games working. So it's got a really great community, so I advise getting involved with that. So that's it, just a quick overview of a handful of apps. I'll do these semi-regularly. In terms of the AYN Thor, we are still in those early days, and I'm aware that a lot of those Phase 2 ones are still in the process of getting delivered. And there's only going to be more apps and more cool things they can do. So as a V1 for must-have apps, then these are my first 4. So if you like this video, I'd appreciate a like or a subscription. A subscribe, not a subscription. Hey, if you want to give me money, feel free. And yeah, if you have any more questions or if you have any recommendations, if there's another app that I've not covered or I'm maybe not even aware of, then please feel free to drop a comment and let me and others know. And I will see you next time.